Have you ever had one of those mornings when the entire universe seems to be messing with you just for fun? That was exactly me. Barely awake, answering my door at 8 a.m. on a Saturday. I was expecting maybe a package or the neighbor's cat, stuck in a tree again. Instead, standing on my porch was this woman with blonde highlights, a stiff blazer, and that haircut you've seen in every meme. I swear, the way she clutched that clipboard, you'd think it held nuclear launch codes. Before I could even mumble a good morning, she was already sizing me up, lips curled like I'd tracked mud into her pristine lawn. "You don't belong here," she snapped, not even pretending to be polite. Her eyes drilled into me like I was some kind of imposter. She tapped her pen on the clipboard. Bam, 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 making it clear who she thought was in charge. "This is a respectable neighborhood with standards. Proof of ownership, please." Let me back up a bit. I'm Jason, 26 years old, and I just bought my first house, paid in cash. Not that it mattered to her. I was still in pajama pants, my brain stuck somewhere between wondering if this was a prank and trying to figure out if I still had bedhead. But she didn't care. She just shoved a piece of paper at me like she was handing out parking tickets. "I'm Karen Wilson, president of the Meadowbrook Estates HOA. You're too young to own property here. Our covenants are very clear about the kind of people we want." You'd think this was just a misunderstanding or some weird HOA orientation gone wrong, but Nash gave me this look like she was doing me a favor, and she had already filed eviction paperwork. 30 days to vacate before we take legal action, she said, her voice syrupy with self-importance. I stared at the paper, trying to remember if I had actually woken up yet. Nope. This was real. Then the kicker. She leaned in and lowered her voice. "Next time, do your research before squatting in someone else's neighborhood, like I'm some con artist who wandered off the street." What she didn't know, what she could never guess, was that not only do I own this house outright, no mortgage, no payments, no drama, I bought it with every penny I'd been saving since college. 4 years living with my parents, saving, every dime from a remote software job, driving a car held together by more duct tape than paint. So yeah, when this place hit the market, I jumped. Seller's family wanted a quick deal, and I was ready. Keys in hand, driver's license in my name, dream realized. Or so I thought. Except now, all I get from my new neighbors are sideways looks and whispers. Every time I glance out the window, there's Karen across the street snapping photos like I'm local wildlife. The passive-aggressive notes started 3 days after I moved in. Garbage cans visible from the street, except they weren't. Lawn needs immediate attention. I'd mowed it the day before. Holiday decorations I never put up. Parking violations for a car that never leaves the garage. Karen's white SUV cruises by constantly, phone in hand, eyes scanning for any excuse. Then get this. She started telling neighbors, I must be running some illegal operation. How else? Could someone like him afford that house? I overheard her telling old Mr. Douglas and his wife as they walked their schnauzer past my driveway. He's probably selling drugs or gambling or who knows what. I've already called the authorities. At this point, it was almost comical. Except it was my life she was trying to ruin. A week later, a thick manila envelope showed up in my mailbox. Official looking but totally bogus. Notice of non-compliance. Meadowbrook Estates is a 55+ EI community. I have 30 days to vacate. I nearly choked. I'd read every document before buying. There was no age restriction. This isn't a retirement village, just your standard suburbia. So, I called my real estate attorney. He laughed and told me Karen was bluffing. Document everything, Jason. If she pushes this, it's harassment, maybe even fraud. So I did what any millennial would. I installed security cameras, saved every note, and braced for round 2. Sure enough, 3 days later, Karen showed up with 2 other HOA board members. I recognized one neighbor as decent, but now he was caught in the crossfire. Compliance inspection, Karen declared, all business like she was starring in her own reality show, and tried to shoulder past me into my foyer. Not happening. I planted myself in the doorway. You need an appointment and written authorization for that. Karen's face turned red, not used to being challenged. As HOA president, I have the right to enforce real bylaws. You have the right to enforce bylaws through proper channels, I said. What you don't have is the right to enter my home or invent rules that don't exist. I pulled up the HOA documents on my phone and handed it to her. Show me the age restriction. The neighbor glanced at Karen. I've lived here 15 years. There's no age restriction. Karen's nostrils flared. New amendment passed last month. Amendments require a 2/3 vote from homeowners. I never got a ballot. Did you? I asked the others. Silence. That's what I thought. Now I need you all to leave my property. Any future communication, put it in writing. Stick to the actual rules. Oh, and this whole conversation is being recorded. Karen stormed off. Her loyal sidekicks looked like they'd rather be anywhere else. As she left, I heard her hiss, "This isn't over." She was right, but not the way she thought. The next morning, an official county eviction notice was taped to my door. My stomach sank, but something felt off. I called the county clerk and found out the notice was a forgery filed under Karen's name with fake credentials. This was serious. The clerk involved the prosecutor's office immediately. I collected all evidence: fake violations, security footage of Karen trespassing, forged documents, and emails from neighbors about similar harassment. The prosecutor took it serious. Within days, they started investigating. It turned out Karen had run the HOA like her personal dictatorship for years. Fake rules, made-up fines, stealing HOA funds, fake meeting minutes, and bullying residents. Police raided her home office and found forged documents, legal threats, and fake financial reports. 2 weeks later, I saw police cars outside the HOA office. They arrested Karen, her face twisted with rage. "I was protecting you from outsiders," she shouted as she was taken away. No one defended her. Instead, neighbors started clapping. That was her legacy. Karen was charged with fraud, forgery, impersonation, harassment, and embezzlement. Bail was set at $50,000, which she couldn't pay. At the next HOA meeting, neighbors apologized for not speaking up sooner and thanked me for standing firm. The interim president invited me to join the board to help fix things. "We need someone like you," he said. Then the judge revealed Karen had tried to buy my house years ago and held a grudge when she was denied. Her crusade was jealousy all along. Karen was sentenced to 18 months and ordered to repay $50,000 to the HOA. When the verdict was read, she ranted about maintaining standards, but was taken away for contempt. Neighborhoods aren't built on fear or grudges. They're built on trust, watching out for each other and standing up to bullies, even if they come armed with a clipboard and a title. So what would you do if Karen came for you? Fight back or hope she moves on? Tell me. What's your line when it comes to standing up for yourself and your community? Let's hear it.